Hi everyone, Lisa here from LC Designs. Welcome to Workshop Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I have a fun fall project. You know, it's starting to get colder outside and we need a hot treat. I guess it's a cider packet. It's a card, but it holds a cider packet. And I'm using the More Than Autumn bundle that's still been around. It's one of my favorites, so I decided to pull it out again and make a card with a cider packet in it. So my announcement for today is our Sweet Surprise kits registration has opened. This month we're doing the Lights of Aurora bundle. This is so pretty. It's in the holiday catalog. It's on page 36. So your kit to go is going to include the elements to make the 3 projects that myself, Patty, and Heather design. And so we designed 3 projects. That way you could start using your suite of products. So you're going to get a spool of the ribbon. Look how pretty. It's a sheer balmy blue sheer ribbon. So pretty. These dots I've been using, the frosted iridescent dots. I love them. I've been using them on all sorts of projects. You're going to get a half a pack of the Lights of Aurora Designer Series paper. I haven't even opened mine. And then what else? Well, you're going to get 10 sheets of the coordinating cardstock, plus 2 sheets of the basic white cardstock, the PDF tutorial that we'll give you for our 3 projects that you'll be able to put together, a sweet surprise gift. I have to look at my notes because there's so many things in this kit that I can't remember it all offhand. And you will need the Light and Wonder bundle, which is not included in the kit. But if you do order it, you know, I'll pay the tax and shipping from Stampin' Up! And I'll add it into your class kit. So the registration began October 12th and it's going to end on October 26th. So for the to-go kit, it's $45. And the in-person or pickup at my house is $38. You get everything, you're just not paying the shipping. So if you're local to Rio Rancho, Albuquerque, New Mexico, you could come pick it up and save yourself some shipping. All right, let's not forget to share my video. You can share it on YouTube, Facebook, and when you share my video, you will be entered into a prize drawing. This week I have another bundle. So comment that you shared my video. That way I know to grab your name and put you into the wheel of names and draw your prize. And all prizes will be shipped when I return. And what else? Oh, and if you want this week's tutorial, just join my email list. I send out a new project tutorial every Friday, and they're only to my email subscribers. Nobody else gets them. So I believe that is it. Let's go ahead and get started with our project. Okay, so let's get started with our fun fall project. Here it is. I told you it was an apple cider card. So when you open it, you have a package of apple cider. I love apple cider during the fall. Like I said, so we're going to actually watercolor these pieces. The cups, the whipped cream, and then I made a lid, and I'll show you how I did that. So first, let's assemble the card, and then we'll get to the watercoloring. Okay, so we need a 4 1/4 by 11 piece of Cajun Craze, and we're gonna score that in half, which is at 5 1/2. And then we're using the Regals and the Brights Designer Series paper. I wanted the pumpkin pie from the Brights and then the Cajun Craze from the Regals. So The layered piece is going to be 4 1/8. So we're using the speckled pattern. So 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, 2 notches before the half. I always like to point that out to you. And that's going to be our first layer. So then we're going to die cut the other pieces. So let's grab our cut and emboss machine, and we are going to die cut. This is, you can see I already used this piece. If you count from the bottom up, so from the smallest arch going up to the largest arch, this one is the 5th from the smallest, no, 7th from the smallest. So I probably should have went from the biggest down. From the biggest, I believe it's the 4th one. So from the biggest, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's this one. And if you do the other one, we're gonna do a basic white one. This one is 5th from the smallest. Otherwise, what did I say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from the largest. Try not to confuse you, but I went 2 sizes up from this one. I wanted you to see more of the pumpkin pie. Okay, so since we have the die cutting machine out, I am going to do a lot of the die cuts. Let me see. Okay, so this is a piece of real red, and we are going to cut. That one's season, and this one's apple. But you know what? We need to stamp a couple of things first. So let me move this aside. Grab this piece of paper. So this cardstock is 1 by 5.5. It's real red, and I added an adhesive sheet to it. So we're gonna stamp the heart over here at the end, and then the apple, because we need these for our cups, and we're doing those in memento. So now I can grab the cut and emboss again. I should have stamped those first. And hopefully I'm not getting you all confused. These ones will go on here. Where's my little heart die and my apple die? And I have a feeling these are gonna move. You know what? Let's do these 2 first. Oops, my instructions stuck to my plate. Okay, so we got apple season, because we're gonna enjoy our cider, apple cider season. My favorite time of year. You know, at Christmas time, I always have a cup of cider, and then I go around, we'll walk the neighborhood and look at all the Christmas lights. I know Christmas is still a ways away. Uh-oh. This guy doesn't want to cooperate. These little ones. It's probably because the tape didn't get in the middle to hold it down. But yeah, I always walk the neighborhood with a cider. That's kind of a tradition I started years ago, when I used to take my grandkids out to see all the lights. Back in California, we had this one neighborhood that they had a big display. It was the whole neighborhood, but they would do, you know, they would raise money for, I think probably cancer research. I can't really remember. It's been a while. The grandkids are almost adults. Okay, let's move that out of the way. So let's kind of assemble what we have first. So our 5 1/8, or 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, piece of Cajun Craze Designer Series paper. We're going to add that to the front. A thin border. Okay. Then we're going to glue. I'm gluing all these because this is going to be thick. On the inside, we have to use some adhesive sheets. So kind of center this, but remember, we're going to have a little sentiment here. So to leave room for that. And then on this one, we're going to stamp Cider. And I'm going to put it over here at an angle because our apple is going to go on there. So I used pumpkin pie, stamped that in pumpkin pie. And so now this one can get glued on. And we'll center that as well. What are some of your favorite Christmas traditions, holiday traditions? My husband, he does gingerbread houses with the grandkids, and they still do to this day. Okay, so let's stamp this one so we could adhere that. Because in the others, we're gonna stamp onto our, so this piece here is a 1/2 inch by 2 1/4. So I cut that down so that this fits. So they do their little gingerbread houses every year. Some years they get super fancy and others they're pretty basic. So we're gonna glue this again. And this is gonna go right there. Grateful, it's finally gonna be apple cider. Okay, so now let's get ready to do our watercoloring. I drew a blank there. Okay, so we're gonna use the Fluid 100 watercolor paper. I already have my piece taped down with some washi tape. You can use any kind of tape. Painter's tape is good. Anything to hold it down because it's gonna kind of warp. It's been a while since I've done this, so we're gonna add some Cajun Craze re-inker. I'm gonna use cherry cobbler, and you don't need much. And then crushed curry. So these are all the regals, and so I have these on a regular clear block. I'm gonna close my window. Oh yeah, I was trying to let some air in and stuff's blowing away. Okay, so we have our aqua painters. So we want to make sure that some water's on it, and we're just gonna spread some water around all over the paper so that it is wet. And we will, what would you say is my darkest color? Probably the cherry cobbler. Like I said, you don't need a lot. I don't think I'm pressing on mine. And you do want to have a piece of paper towel handy. And so you could just smear this around. It's like being a kid in school again. And so I'm gonna clean my aqua painter, and I'm gonna do Cajun Craze next. And we'll just drip. I think I'm not pressing my thing in the right spot. So, and these colors are gonna we're gonna mix them up just because I want my cups to be, you know, different, unique. And next we will do the crushed curry. See, there's a spot on these aqua painters where it says to press. And I think when I don't press on the wrong side. See, oh, push, it says push. That's where I'm having like issues. So this looks like a mess right now. We're gonna go ahead and let that dry. But I think because I didn't add a bunch of cherry cobbler. I'm gonna add a little bit more. And just make sure that you do rinse your aqua painters when you're done. They may or may not stain. But doesn't that look cool? So there's two ways that you can do this. We're gonna let this dry. And I have another one that I already did. But you could use paper towel and kind of pick up a lot of that ink, like especially here on the, but when you do that, it kind of lightens the color. Like I said, you can get the edges over here because it's all gonna roll off. But when you use a paper towel, to me, it lightens the color. I like these bright, bold colors. So we're just gonna let that dry, and then I'll show you the piece that I already did, and we can start cutting our elements. Okay, so here's our dried piece of watercolor paper. So let me clean off of this and we're gonna use Memento. We're gonna stamp the whipped cream. Oops, it's sticking to my hand and not the whipped cream. So we're gonna use Memento. You can use StazOn, but we're gonna need 2 cups. And so 2 cup, let's do this one down here. I'm gonna do our whipped cream over here. And now the lid, we're just gonna stamp this bottom part. You don't need to stamp the whole cup. So I'm gonna do it over here, like so, and I'll show you what we're gonna do. So we need to die cut. Actually, you know, I fussy cut those, but I think we could use the cup and die. Well, I think I still have to fussy cut it, but let's go ahead and cut both of our cups and our whipped cream. Now you might notice that this one is brighter than my original. Reason being is when I was telling you as we were doing the watercoloring, there's 1 of 2 ways. You could just let it dry and the colors will be more vibrant, or you can use a paper towel. Well, on my original, I used the paper towel, and I actually preferred the brighter colors. Okay, we don't need that anymore. And this one. So you're gonna see the difference, and I'll show you when we're done. And these I just chose because I felt like they're fall colors. And but I really like how bright these are. The other one I tried to, so look, let's go ahead and do this. And my tape's been used a lot. And then I'll fussy cut the bottom. And, all right. So look, you can use many more, do many more projects with it. So we don't need the cup anymore. So let me get my, aren't those pretty? Don't you like those colors, how they came out? So our cool, or I keep wanting to call this Cool Whip. Our whipped cream, I'm just gonna put a little line of glue and then glue that right on. I know it's supposed to be white, but it's pretty. So on this one, that's the top of the cup. But look, we're just gonna trim this piece down right like so, turn it upside down, and it's a lid. So this one is gonna have a lid on it. And another thin strip, and there goes our lid. Pretty fancy, right? So we're not done. These, we used the adhesive sheet on them, but you really didn't need to. But it was just easier to do that whole sheet. So we're gonna put a heart on this one. And we're gonna put the apple on this one. I normally don't put whipped cream on my cider, but I'm sure it's delicious. I wanted to use the whipped cream. But you know, this could be a hot cocoa, this could be a cider, right? All right, so let's get back to our card. And we're gonna pop these on with dimensionals. And I'm just gonna add a couple. Put these on at an angle. I might have put that one too high because I don't wanna cover up my cider. Let's put this one. And then I'm gonna move this one down. Hopefully not messing it up. Actually, I think I'm messing it up. Okay, we'll leave it. It's fine. Maybe this one we can move a little bit. I overlapped them. There. Okay, so now we're gonna put our apple pop. Let's see with this adhesive, maybe it'll take off all those pieces. All but, I was gonna say one, but two. Okay, so we're just gonna put it right across apple cider and then season. I love this bundle. Haven't used it in a long time. And then season. And that's so cute. Okay, so now for the inside of our card, we need a 4 1/4 or 5 1/4 by 4 piece of basic white. And I had my little pocket. So we're gonna do our pocket, and I need a strip of 4 and where's my trimmer? Let me make sure this is, so this is for a pocket. It's gonna be 1 and 1.5. 1.5. I didn't cut this very straight. I just messed it up. All right, here, let's do another one. Okay, so it's gonna be 4 1/4. I didn't cut that one straight. I think I need to change my blade again by 1.5. So that's our pocket. Okay, and then now we're gonna add a piece of designer series paper to it, and it's gonna be 1 3/8 by 4 1/8. So 4 1/8 by 1 3/8. 2 notches before the half. I just got all kinds of that cardstock in there from me making a mess. All right, so we're gonna adhere this one to our pocket. And this one, you're gonna add glue all over because this is just a layer. For a minute, I was thinking only 3 sides. Let's add this piece to the inside. I go through a lot of glue. It seems like I just opened this bottle. but I do a lot of crafting. Okay, so on this piece, you know, we're making a pocket, so we're only gonna add to the 3 sides. So what we're gonna do though, is we're gonna use adhesive foam strips so that we can fit our, let me see, this piece is already cut. Our pouch will be raised a little. It's sticking to me, so I'm just gonna use it. And let's get another strip. And this doesn't have to be deep. It's just to raise it up so that the width. So look, I'm just gonna put this one. And I think I have a little scrap here. Putting all my little pieces to use here. Okay, so let's take all the backings off. And if you don't want the white to show like that, what I do, let me grab one. And this is Cajun Craze. And I just like use my Stampin' blend to just kind of color it so then you don't see the white. It kind of, I don't know, makes it a little less noticeable. But this is not in your instructions. This is just a tip that I'm showing you. Okay, I made a mess on the back side, but that's okay because that is getting covered up. We're just gonna put this right like so. Whoa, I could have cut this one a little bit shorter. It's peeking through. I'm showing you the tips and tricks of making a cider packet. I cut it, but now I can't get it out. Come on, come on. There, I got it. Okay, so there, now where is my cider? Oh, where is my cider? Here it is. I have everything in my bucket, but then it gets lost. So that'll just fit right inside there. There is our card, and we're all done. Now, wouldn't this be a nice little gift for your mail delivery person? Now, let me show you the difference. Look at the colors. This one, I just let it dry. I didn't use no paper towel or anything to pull it up. This one, I used the paper towel to dry it. But there's, and you can put your message inside here. And then let me show you, look, see how that blends in? I could still do it a little better, but then compared to the white. So use your Stampin' blends to cover that up, see? So there is our project. I hope you like it. I hope you enjoyed getting some watercoloring tips in. And you have a great day, and be sure and join me next week. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye-bye.